It's easy to craft a retirement plan that solves. You just keep playing around with your expenses and your returns and inflations, and you can make your Monte Carlo score show anything you want, okay? The real learning, the real power to a retirement plan is knowing how it will fail, okay? And today I'm going to show 16 tests, I call them stress tests, that I put my retirement plan through once every 6 months, okay? This is powerful. I am going to attach a Word document to this. I'm going to share it with you. So you don't need to take notes. You can just listen. This document is available for you totally free, okay? I don't have any way to charge you. So anyway, my plan is in Boldin. I talk about it a lot. I get a lot of questions around, Joe, you mentioned stress test. What does that mean specifically? That's why I'm giving you this document. This is not a prescription for you to follow these exact 16 steps. I'm just telling you what I do, okay? What I do, what I worry about, not worry, but what I test and stress inside of my plan. Boldin is a comprehensive software package, best on the market. I don't think that's disputed a lot for the everyday consumer like you and me. It can be a very simple program for you if you want to enter the basics, and if you want to get into the details, you can modify it and stress test it like I'm going to talk about today. You can compare your plans side by side, so you can see with high inflation, low inflation, high returns, low returns, retiring a year earlier, your mortality, all those kind of things. It's so easy to compare side by side. So I'm going to have a link for 2 free weeks. It's like the second link below. This letter or note and video is inspired by an article by Boldin. Boldin every Friday turns out a letter that has so many priceless concepts from their practice, from their business that come in on retirement. They had put a video out on 20 stress tests they can do, so I thought I would add mine. They have classrooms, live classrooms, Q&A. I mean, Boldin is much more than just a retirement software package. They provide videos for training. I can't talk enough about Boldin. And I've also linked the article inside of this Word document you can take a look at. So what am I watching for when I stress test my plan? So when I'm going through these 16, what do I look for? Well, like I said, it's easy to find a plan and create a plan that solves. The trick is making it fail. And this is driven into you if you're an engineer and go through engineering training. You try to think about how your solution will fail. If you're designing a bridge, how will that bridge fail? Okay, and you play what if games. So how I make it solve after I make it fail is where the gold is. Those are your levers. So you make your plan fail by having, say, 6% inflation. Then what if there was 6% inflation for the next 10 years? What can you do to make that solve? Okay, now I'm looking at Monte Carlo score. I'm trying to be above 80. I'm trying to look at the impact on my savings, my net worth. I really look at the age of 75 in addition to the mortality age that I put in. I put in 90, by the way. I look for any impact on my desired lifestyle. Say my savings balance went down to like $1. Never ran out during the Monte Carlo simulations, the 1,000 simulations the software runs, but caused a lot of stress. So I'm looking at the graph. I really like looking at graphs instead of just a table of numbers. I'm looking at legacy, and I'm noting not only how big that legacy is, but what form is it in from tax standpoint? Is it all in Roth? So my kids, whenever they inherit money, do they have to pay taxes? And at what tax rate do I anticipate them paying? It's better to have $1 million in Roth than it is to have $1 million in pre-tax, right? And then I just look at the overall savings rate and look at, does anything look too risky? Does the balance get too low? And like I said, the critical point in making my plan fail is understanding the levers that make it solve again. So like I said, let's use rates of return. I have 10 years of bad returns. Sequence return was bad. How do I make that solve? Do I lower my expenses? Do I delay Social Security? Okay. Do I work a part-time job? What does it take to make that plan solve? Not saying I'm going to take any of those actions, but there's great power in knowing those actions. Great confidence in those actions leads to I can spend my money, I can have my go-go years, and I'm not living in fear. Hopefully that makes sense. This works for me. Make my plan fail. How do I make it solve? Gives me strength of mindset and confidence to live my retirement life. So let's jump in, long intro, jump into the 16 tests that I run. 1, part-time income in retirement. I'm making money from YouTube here. What is that going to be this year, next year, 3 years? I only model out 3 years. And what if there's a surprise loss to that income? Say my YouTube income went down to 0. What happens to my plan? Number 2, longevity of you and your spouse. This one's huge. A lot of people worry about outliving their money. The bigger problem I've seen is people dying too early. So somebody has a pension, somebody has Social Security, they take Social Security at 62, they have a pension, they don't have survivor spouse, they die at 70 years old, boom, it's a gut check. So don't forget to model too early death of the person that primarily if they have a pension and they're the higher earning Social Security amount, that can be critical. Number 3, tax implications of withdrawal strategies. So am I withdrawing in order? A traditional order is say, let's do post-tax things first and then go to deferred tax and finally Roth items. Or do I want to pull from my traditional IRA first, depends on when you retire, and then go to the post-tax things last, and Roth always last. I think that always makes sense. But again, I'll say here, Boldin makes these extremely easy. These are super easy to do. Seconds, really, not minutes, seconds, and you don't need to program anything. Number 4, tax planning, impact of RMDs. What are my RMDs going to be? What are my taxes and tax brackets every year through mortality? Can I see that on a graph and color code the different tax brackets when I hit those? Boldin does that. There's a Roth Explorer that optimizes that for you, and all you do is hit attach to my plan, and it's in your plan. IRMA is your Medicare supplement premium. So whenever you buy supplements, which most people will, how do you minimize those IRMA payments? Because it's based on your income. Well, inside of the Explorer for Roth conversions, it can maximize or minimize your IRMA. Super easy to do, and it's on a chart. Number 6, Social Security timing for you and your spouse. When's it make sense to do that? You can try out different scenarios in your plan, however it's laid out. Boldin has a Social Security Explorer. You put in whatever you want to do. It tells you 2 better options and why. Number 7, I test optimistic, average, and pessimistic assumptions. Assumptions for investment returns, general inflation, medical inflation, and Social Security inflation. Also, housing inflation. All 5 of those different, okay? And one of the most powerful things about Boldin is you can just click a button and it hits optimistic for all of these. You click a button, it hits average for all of these. Super cool. And also there's a difference between housing inflation, Social Security inflation, medical inflation, and general inflation. That reflects reality, put in whatever you want there. Or it will suggest historical values for you. Number 8, sequence of return risk. How are you going to model that? Boldin has a market risk explorer that allows you to do that. You can, model the first 10 years having no return. You can model the first 3 years having, a minus 15% a year. So as soon as you retire, boom, you get hit with that. Super easy to do inside their market risk explorer. Number 9, you can model buying an annuity, another fixed income amount, with or without that. Different values for that. Maybe you buy $250,000 worth of annuity, and that fixes a payment here. How does that work? Expenses. I have a value in there for go spending, slow go spending, no go spending, and one-time expenses. But I love having, this is worth the price of admission right here. I have a monthly expense item called crazy spending. I go into my plan, have it all solved, 95% Monte Carlo, and then I'll go in and add $250 a month, $500 a month, $750 a month, $1,000 a month, and see where I can make the plan fail on expenses. And that gives me comfort if a month happens where I overspend by $1,000 because my water heater went out. I don't panic because I know my plan can handle that little gut punch. Also, I'll go in and with a very large expense, say a medical expense comes up that's very large and unexpected. Can I handle that? And also I look at the tax impact of one-time expenses. Sometimes it may be better if you have a one-time expense of, say, you're buying a car and paying outright for it. Maybe you take half the money, say $35,000 out in 2028 and $35,000 out in 2029, 28, 29. I think I said that right. And that reduces your taxes because you're not taking that at one time out of your IRA account. Number 11, long-term care. Do I fund it? Do I not fund it? Where it's at? Just have a plan for that. What if it's longer than you anticipated? What if a spouse goes into long-term care for 10 years? What's that do to your plan? How do you adapt? How do you make it solve? Number 12, income. What if there's a loss of a pension? What if you have a really nice pension and your company goes bankrupt and it goes into the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation and your pension gets slashed by 50%? What's that do? Don't think it can happen? Check the Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation and what they do. I don't think that's going to happen to any government people, but private pensions, yes. Inheritance, with or without. Say you're expecting to inherit $100,000 when you're 70. Put it in, take it out. What if it's 50% of what you thought it was? Number 14, what if you sell a home? What if you sell it for $100,000 less than what you thought it was going to be? Stress test that a little bit. Purchase a home, downsize in a home. All those things you can put in there and easily model. I'm not thinking about that, but it's an easy option built into Boldin. Debt. I don't have any debt, but I can model different payoffs. Which credit card or which debt should I pay off? My credit cards, car, or my home? In what order should I do those? How can I accelerate those? There's an option to explore that. Number 16, legacy goals. If I want to have a legacy goal of, leaving heirs $1 million, how do I hit that? With different spending rates, perhaps. So a couple, that's my 16, couple bonus ones here. I'm retired, so these didn't really apply, but you may want to think about them. Different retirement ages for you and your spouse. This is one that is huge with people that get Boldin. They thought they had 5, 6, 7 years to retire, and then they start playing around in Boldin and said, hey, I can retire now, 4 years earlier than I thought was possible. You can model that, super easy. Also, if you're not retired yet, different savings rates. So instead of saving $10,000 a year, you save $15,000 a year. How much earlier can you retire? What's your Monte Carlo score? So those are my 16 tests that I'm running. To be honest, every 6 months, I don't test all these. I'm getting more and more comfortable knowing these. I've been retired for 7 years now. I've been using Boldin for 6 years. I used to do this analysis once every quarter. I do it once every 6 months now. I'm getting very comfortable with my spending and my retirement plan. I don't need to, do my what if scenarios as much just because of that experience. And you'll get there too. This is, can be very challenging and full of fear to do this. To make the step to retire, and even in your first couple years, it was for me. My first 3-4 years, I studied a lot and prepared a lot. In my retirement plan using Boldin, spent a lot of hours on it, but not much anymore. Once every 6 months works great for me. So there you go. I'm going to link this for you to have. Please, if this is the third video of mine you watched, give me a subscribe. I'm pushing towards 100,000 subscribers. And if you have anything additional to these 16 tests, let me know. I may make a video out of it. I may come up with 17 here because of you. I'm learning something every day. This is Joe out.